Are you or your loved ones suffering from illnesses such as TDS, also known as Trump derangement syndrome? Do you dismiss or deny the current issues facing our country, such as historic inflation, illegal immigration, corporate corruption, World War III escalations, and the chronic disease epidemic? Are you willing to elect someone who was the least popular vice president in modern history, and who offers no policy or vision for America, simply because your brain keeps telling you anyone but Trump? If so, you might be struggling from TDS. Introducing Independence. Independence allows you the freedom to finally think independently once again. Instead of believing everything you hear from the mainstream media, independence allows for constructive critical thinking.
I used to hear people on the news say things like,
Donald Trump and the movement he has encouraged are a threat to democracy.
And I instantly believed it. With Independence, I now realize the media is run by the Democrat elite, who are a corrupt oligarchy that censors free speech, silences political opponents, supports forever wars, and abandons democracy by anointing its candidates.
Independence may not be for everyone. If you enjoy being lied to about your president's cognitive abilities, support Orwellian totalitarianism, or are excited about communist fiscal policy, independence may not be right for you. Common side effects of independence may include an awakening of rational thought, successfully identifying propaganda, freedom of choice, loss of hatred, anti-narcissistic behavior, and love of democracy.
I used to blindly hate whoever my party was running against. I didn't care about facts or policy because I was hopelessly indoctrinated. With independence, I'm much more interested in policies that uphold democracy, and I truly care about the health of our country and its citizens.
Ask your doctor if independence is right for you, and enjoy your freedoms once again.
Good morning, 511 family. What's up? What's up, Jarrett? Time to wake up.
What's going on, Mike? Yes, that definitely was not sponsored by Pfizer.
It didn't say sponsored by Pfizer?
No, that definitely, Independence is definitely not sponsored by Big Pharma, guys.
No, it definitely isn't. You know that, did you see that one yet, Jarrett?
No, that's the first time. It was pretty fire. It was hilarious. I love those type of videos. It, kicks my day off right. And it's funny because it's true. That's the best part.
Right. That was an ad put out by RFK and was it Sheridan, something like that was his running mate that was running in there. And I actually, maybe we'll get to it here in a second, but there was another video that she had done on an interview, and I thought this was very. In fact, you know what? Like I want to play that in a second, Jarrett, Darius, if you have that one with RFK's running mate. But it was interesting hearing her talk about, I don't know who, or I didn't know who MAGA was. I didn't understand anything about them. And she was someone running in opposition to Trump and MAGA and all that, and had no clue anything about the party or what they stood for or any of those things. And it just kind of goes to show you, if she didn't know, she's like probably one of the most informed people. Like, how many other people out there have no clue, right? So let's go ahead and roll this clip. I don't usually roll clips during this part of the show, but I just thought this was relevant to the conversation we're having now.
The best part of joining forces with Trump has been seeing MAGA, which I'm learning so much about. I was completely misinformed about what MAGA is. I don't know if you've taken any deep dives into MAGA world, but I was just under the impression that they were gun-toting radicals who wanted to come to my doorstep and rip my liberal family out of my house, and do horrible things to liberals. And that's how MAGA has been sold to a huge portion of America by the mainstream media. And I have to say that what I have learned about MAGA is that they're actually their own party. They're their own grassroots organization that chose Donald Trump. They have so much power in deciding where to point their energy and support. And there are really, really smart, thoughtful, intellectual people within MAGA. I've received beautifully written notes from MAGA supporters, and they were, our base didn't know how to engage with MAGA. Our base was not MAGA oriented in the sense of even knowing who and what MAGA was and what their infrastructure was. In many ways, it's an online viral movement. And
Right.
so the coming together of, and they gave us the name MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. Have you seen?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we didn't come up with that. We're getting hats made, but the coming together of these two groups over the last week hasn't even been a full week yet, but watching that happen has been really glorious, because that was always the vision of this unity movement, this desire to heal the divide. And even though these are just two pockets within a much larger group of the American demographic, they're two very powerful pockets. And to find common ground has been one of the most motivating, optimistic things I've seen in recent political time.
So the reason I wanted to share that video with all of you guys, if she didn't know who MAGA was, Jarrett, how is the regular, hey Brock, what's up, brother? Seeing you popped in. How is anybody else gonna know? How is a regular average American who doesn't pay attention, who doesn't watch, what's going on, who's not as informed as, like you and I are, Jarrett, and you would think, especially, this Shanahan, I think it was, that's on RFK's team, would know, but she had no idea.
Yeah, they're not going to know, because it's something they don't pay attention to. And the Democrats count on people not understanding what's going on. They count on you not paying attention, because that's how you get your votes. Because if you were paying attention, none of this stuff would fly. If you were paying attention, you would say all the sexualization of kids in school. If you were paying attention, you would see all your tax money going to failing projects. And if you were paying attention, you would see the mass immigration coming across the border, and the Democrats with their hands over their eyes saying, act like nothing's happening. But alas, people don't pay attention. This is what happens. People, only care about what's happening instantly in front of them. Now, what really annoys me about this, they paid attention when those stimulus checks came. Everyone was paying attention then. But since you spent that money, you care less about what's going on in the government. And especially in local government, that affects you so much. They just ignore local government, and that has a direct factor in your life. And it's in the MAGA movement, I must say, it's some great people. They treat you like a man, they respect you, they care about their families, they care about America. And if you go to one of these rallies, they embrace you. They're not like, oh, you can't come here because you're a woman. You can't come here because you're a minority. You can't come here from here because you're a different state. Everyone who goes there gets treated like family. And when you go to these liberal rallies, it's just like anger and hate and rage. Like, I don't understand how they live like that. They wake up angry, they go to bed angry, constant frowns on their face, but they're the party of love. How can you be the party of love when you never even smile?
Right. Well, something my wife brought up this morning, Jarrett, that, I haven't really thought a lot about, but she was like, pretty much everybody on Trump's team, the team Trump right now, is former Democrats. And so they're calling all of us like far right. And like, this is how far and I know that we might need to explain this to some people. You guys can go Google it. The Overton window. This is how far the Overton window has shifted to the left, that people that are former Democrats have left the party because they're realizing like what these people stand for is, ultimately socialism and communism, and joining with the conservative Republicans and being called far right extremists when they were former Democrats. And really, I don't think a lot of their policy stances have changed. It's just that it's shifted so far that they're like, oh, I stayed where I was and it shifted over there. I don't know how much you thought about that, Jarrett, but I was like, man, that's interesting because, you got RFK, you got Tulsi Gabbard, you got all of RFK's team. I don't think, which Ludavia and I were debating this morning, I'm like 95% sure that I'm correct on this one, that Vance was ever liberal, but, Trump was, so.
Yeah, they say that all the time. They say it's an old saying. They say when you're young, you're a liberal, and you grow up old, you're a conservative, right? But now we live in a generation where people aren't growing up. They're perpetual children.
Great
So
point.
they're constantly fall for these liberal nonsense. And for me, it's just being uninformed. That's why I love shows like this, because we actually inform people. We give you information, we share things with you, and we love sharing things that you put out too. So shout out to American First TXN for that video. It was fantastic. We love your stuff. But again, it's just a whole bunch of asinine stuff. And I sit back and watch it, just like the interview they had with Kamala the other day. It was just ridiculous. And people just sit it and they praise it. And because they're not paying attention, they don't care. And I think the people who don't care, I feel bad for. But the people who are doing it because they think they're morally superior, those are the people that annoy me. Like, you have this moral superiority that you get from Christianity, even though you hate Christianity, but don't understand that your moral superiority you get from there, and you just manipulate it to fit your cause. You're not a moral person because you want to kill babies. You're not a moral person for saying, oh yeah, let's let everyone come across the border, take whatever jobs you want. It's because these people are so comfortable, especially the celebrities, like the Ben Stillers. Like, talk about he's ready for change. What change? They've been in office the entire time. Look, just go back to the museum, make another movie so we can laugh and keep it moving. We don't have time for your nonsense. And also, you live in these gated communities. We know this. We see it. We watch Real Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. We know where you guys are. And so you can't tell us our struggle, what we're going through. You want to defund the police when you pay for a private police force. Come on, guys. You guys got to wake up to this stuff, right? Because if not, our country is going to go downhill. We say we know how we win in the end with the Lord, but guys, we got to stay here. We're going to live here until then. We're not moving anywhere. I'm not leaving America, so let's fight for it while we're here.
That's right. That's right. And guys, if you would help us out to continue to spread this message, you can do that simply by just sharing our content out to your friends, your family, somebody, your coworker. Somebody you think needs to hear this message. Hopefully, a lot of times we try to be as encouraging as we can. Also, go check out our store on our website, 511media.co/shop. You can see the shirts we have, the hoodies. We got some other merch out there. Go ahead and bring it up, Darius. Here's the front of the shirt: "Brave hated scorned." On the back, we have a saying, quote from Mark Twain that I think you guys will like. But you guys can go check that out over on our website. And do want to give a quick shout out to our longest time sponsor, Covenant Coffee. CovenantCoffee.org. Thank you for all of your support. I just talked to Randy the other day. They're doing some amazing things in Bakersfield, but go check them out online at CovenantCoffee.org. Or if you're in Bakersfield, go check them out at Mohawk in California or on North Chester. And then want to also bring attention to a couple events real quick coming up. First one is AmFest, America Fest. Go ahead and bring up the video.
What you represent, your presence here, at the largest multi-day event in conservative grassroots history. Is a message that will be heard by these people.
Phoenix, Arizona, people from all over the country. It's remarkable because it brings everybody together. One of my favorite of the year.
Energy, let us want you to see it. The stakes are high. We have only begun to fight.
Guys, you want to be there. Be at AmFest. Phoenix, Arizona, December 19th through the 22nd. Right now, they still, Jarrett, tell me if I'm missing something, but I think they still got the early bird registration going on for 50% off tickets. And go check that out now. And we'll see you there. And then the next event is coming up just in a couple weeks. Jarrett, go ahead and tell them about that one.
Yeah, guys, it's going to be an amazing event. So Blexit is having their Night of Faith. It's something they do all across the country. But the next one is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at In the Light Church, hosted by Pastor Jamie Santino. We're going to have Pierre Wilson there, Madeline Brame, Pastor Lorenzo Seawall. You saw him tear it up at the RNC. I'm going to be there. Mike's going to be there. Renata is going to be great. So you guys come out for a great time, family-friendly, free event. There could be some food, some amazing praise and worship music. Guys, it's a great time to get back to the community and also commune with some Christians. And anytime we can come together in the name to promote God or support each other, we should. So again, also guys, it's free. So bring out your families. It's going to be an amazing time.
Yeah, that's right. We'll see you there. Looking forward to it. Yeah, guys. So now is the time that we've been waiting for. Want to introduce you to an amazing woman of God who's doing big things across the country for multiple nonprofits, multiple communities that she's involved with. Business owner, powerful woman. Glad to have her. Jarrett, I know that you know Valerie very well, and you're going to do her more justice than I am, but I was privileged to get to have a conversation with Valerie yesterday.
Yeah, Valerie is awesome. So let me read her bio to you real quick before I dive into something. So Valerie Miller is a professional from Concord, North Carolina, holding a bachelor's of science in business administration from the University of Phoenix. A lifelong volunteer, she serves as Blexit NC Student Movement Manager, chairwoman of Turning Point Action for Black Americans, and founder of Saves to Wait, among other roles. Valerie is also active member of her church outreach ministry and volunteers for the regional ombudsman program to protect patients' rights in nursing homes. 1 second, guys. For people in nursing homes. She founded V2S Logistics Service LLC and pursuing her funeral home director certification and Bobby license, and she's driven by her passion to support the elderly. What I can say about Valerie personally, Valerie's like one of my favorite people from Blexit. Like she's an OG. She started when we had nothing. We were trying to come boots on the ground, spend our own money, just traveling, trying to get the message out. And she's stayed strong. She had influenced so many leaders. To watch Valerie grow, I used to be her regional manager, and then to see how much she has grown and see what she's doing now is just phenomenal. But you can ask anyone at Blexit, because we all knew she was going to go there. She was going to be a superstar, and that she is now. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very happy to introduce Valerie Miller to the show.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Hello.
Awesome to have you here, Valerie.
Thank you.
I love the conversation we had yesterday, and I just love your heart of service and your heart for the Lord.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it too. And you're such a people's person, and you love to volunteer. So, to me, what drives you to volunteer? Like, what makes you so active in your community?
Just being able to know that you're impacting a future generation, and you are just leaving your mark on society as being a person who cares about the community and practices social responsibility.
Yeah, social responsibility is very important. Me and Mike talk about that all the time. And why we need to be, we're responsible for what happens in our communities. Yes. And I love what you do, and especially with Blexit. I mean, you've been with Blexit since the beginning. So can you talk a little bit about how it started and what you see at Blexit as now since the merger with Turning Point?
Yes, the merger with Turning Point. I mean, it has just brought so much structure to Blexit. It's just amazing. I mean, it's we've been going through some growing pains, and I'm sure everybody has felt it, but the growing pains are for the better. And so I just love the structure that Turning Point has brought to Blexit. Yeah, like you said, I started out as the state director a couple of years ago and just kind of rocked it out. I was referred by Lisa Matthews to take on this role as she scouted me out as being a conservative and definitely very passionate about the conservative movement. And so I've been rocking it out ever since. And it's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me, especially when it comes to my professional development and my interactions with people and just overall well-being. It's been a very humbling experience. So moving on from state director, I am now the student movement manager. And so it's kind of like two different worlds. And I always knew Blexit student movement was here, but I never, really paid attention to it that much. But just being able to empower a new generation of leaders, that just brings so much joy to my heart, working with these young people who are so full of passion and full of life and just ready and eager to change the world. We focus on free thinking and just putting together events where we're shifting culture in a positive way, especially on college campuses. And so we encourage individuals to just kind of be more conscious of your thoughts and your decision-making processes, even at an early age in as being in college, because your decisions that you make will impact you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that is so true. And now I want to shoot this question to both y'all, because Mike, you have tons of colleges in California. What do you guys see happening on these campuses? Do you see a change in directions? Do you see the kids moving towards conservative values, or is it just like the media saying that the next generation is nothing but leftist socialists?
Well, what I see, and being around the younger generations, I'm in a little bit, to be just completely transparent, a little bit of an echo chamber, because most of the younger kids that I'm around are in my church, right? But even there, I'm seeing, just there is a shift to the left for sure, but I think when they're in the public school system now, especially in California, and when they're in the public school system, they're getting beaten to their head all day, every day, these ideologies. When you get into college, it gets even worse. And that even happens, which we talked about early this week, Jarrett, in the homeschooling community. Through standardized testing, the left's going to slip in their ideologies and their ways of thinking in whatever way they can. So my 11-year-old son, Valerie, was having to answer questions on his state required standardized testing, which we talked about that whole thing being, what a farce that is anyway yesterday. But the questions are worded in such a way that, first of all, the fact that 11-year-olds being asked these questions, bring one of those up, Darius, as an example, is what the heck are they doing? Even asking the kids these questions, whichever one, Darius, it doesn't matter. So you read this question. Mahatma Gandhi once said, the greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Municipal officials who propose cutting funding for animals, shelters, agencies should be ashamed. Many such facilities struggle to provide care for the countless needy cats, dogs, and other vulnerable animals. Yet heartless government officials often zealously cut the funding for municipal budgets in favor of less urgent programs. It is time for government officials It is time that government officials demonstrate greater decency and provide those urgent funds. If our officials do not, then they must be replaced by people more in the mold of Gandhi. Which of the following is true about the argument? And it gives some questions, but even the answers, the way this question is worded. First of all, for an 11-year-old to even be asked this type of a question is ridiculous.
Right.
But secondly, look at you can see, and this wasn't even the worst example. You can see the agenda being pushed. Onto the kids just through and this is homeschool, so we control their education, and they're still getting it.
Wow.
And this is selective rage too. They're fine with Gandhi, but they attack George Washington. They attack anybody, Christopher Columbus. And Gandhi was a known racist. He said in 1903 that white people should be the dominant race in Africa, and that black people are inherently dirty and filthy. Right?
Wow.
So ignore all Gandhi's racism, right? Because we can push this message, because no one's going to actually read what he wrote. They're just going to listen to what we talk about, right? And this is all the crazy racism stuff that comes out, and the nonsense about, this is why I can't stand stuff like DEI or liberals trying to speak for the black community. Even Malcolm X said the most dangerous thing in the world is a white liberal. And he brought this up because they think they know what's best for you. Just like they think we're ignorant and we don't know how to use computers. We don't have any IDs. Can we bring up that video? Because Valerie, I'd love to get your opinion on why liberals think that Black people need so much help and we always need handouts. Because we have the video, and can we watch that video about IDs?
Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for Black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for Black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed. I also think there's a repression of Black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the African Americans.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask Black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any Black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would you say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. That's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any Black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right?
That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that Black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that Black people, especially poor Black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data?
Mm-hmm.
You can actually
unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of Black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's what my thought process of.
I just think that's ignorant. Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word I'm hearing a lot. Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
You're judging somebody, you're judging them because they're Black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are?
Love showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you have to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
See, more soft bigotry, low expectations. It's hilarious that they think that Black people are so ignorant. Oh, hold on, guys. I got lost for a second. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. Where's my camera? Oh, there it is. Sorry. I'm Black. I couldn't figure out what I was doing for a second. I just reverted back to my feral self, but.
Listen. I just want to say we were talking about Blexit a minute ago, so I just want to give a disclaimer. Blexit is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, and so my views that are personally expressed about any other issues that may be partisan, have nothing to do with my positions with Brexit. But just, I mean, you know, the Kamala Harris Walls campaign, they're focused on not going back. But it just seems like all their policies and everything that they push, the liberal agenda pushes, it's like it wants to take us back. I mean, what Black people do not, like they said, Black people do not have a problem going to get an ID. Now, whether they want to go get the ID, that's different. But if they were forced to get an ID, they would definitely go get that ID, because I guarantee you, if President Trump said, you know, I'm taking all Black people on a cruise, everybody's going to be at that cruise port with their ID, and they're not going to have a problem. So, I mean, there are a couple different issues here that would need to be addressed, but, you know, them having a problem, Black people, us having a problem going to get an ID is definitely not a problem. Even in the homeless shelters, you know, you can use the homeless shelter address to, you know, as an address to for your proof of residence. And so it just may be like the knowledge that, you know, when it comes to like not being able to get an ID with the homeless population, and then maybe a certain amount, the little small percentage of people who are like over 100 years old. IDs have been provided to all those people. There's no problem with getting an ID.
Yeah, same thing with the internet. When they bring it up and said Black people don't have access to the internet, that's doing a disservice to kids who actually need the internet. There is a digital divide in certain areas. So there's a lack of internet in certain areas, but it's not based off of race. It's based off of income. So you're telling kids in Appalachians who don't have access to the internet are less important than kids who might live in an urban area who live in a digital divide. No, it's the same thing. So instead of making everything on race like they do with DEI and everything else, you know, you're pushing someone else to the side. You're not caring about everyone. So it's not fair. It's inherently wrong because you are pretty much taking advantage of people. And then the same people who say, oh, it's wrong to have IDs for Black people, it's wrong for all this stuff, it's wrong to put up a wall. They had IDs to get into the DNC and they had a wall up. You know, last time I went to DC to saw the White House, they had a wall up too. So you guys, a wall is good for you, but not good for us. You know, it's okay for IDs to protect you guys, but it's not okay for having IDs to protect our country, protect our vote. It's ridiculous. And they always use Black people as an excuse. They say, oh, Black people need this, Black people need that, just an excuse to spend money on things that we don't need. Frankly, I'm tired of being their scapegoat and being their excuse for everything. But now they're using the illegal immigrants for excuses. You know, they're getting IDs. So they had no problem getting them IDs. You don't hear anyone of them complain that they need IDs because, you know,
they can't even speak the language and they can figure it out.
Exactly. And I'm not a conspiracy guy, but some of our conspiracy fans watching will say they're doing that because they're using that for their votes. And the person who works as a challenger, you know, there might be some truth to that. There might be some truth. And again, guys, this is all for educational purposes. This is our opinions. So the powers that be can't flag us. Again, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but sometimes you see stuff with your own eyes and it becomes true. So with that disclaimer, I don't think they can shut us down. But Mike, how are you feeling about all this? You know, it feels like that these liberals, you know, again, are just trying to divide us. And they never mention, and the funny thing is, they never mention white people. It's always about Black people and Spanish, and they just leave you guys to the side like you guys don't matter. You know, how are you guys feeling about that? And then they tell us to think that you guys don't matter. You know, it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I think they're always trying to dictate how everybody thinks, or they dictate how white people think. They dictate how Black population thinks. They dictate how immigrants and Hispanics think, and they do that through media. And Jarrett, we talked about that with Dr. Tracy the other day. And the thing is, and why do all of these white people that they interviewed, and many white people, have this impression? I'm not one of them because I have many Black friends and talk to many of them every day. But why do they have this impression that they're too dumb to get the internet, that they're too dumb to get an ID, that they're too incompetent to be able to navigate, you know, or get out of their house or do those things? Like, it's because of the narrative that the media has been pushing. Like, and who was the one of the girls said, well, you know, in Florida, most of the Black people are convicted felon. That's not even true. It's not even the majority. It's not even the majority, let alone most of them. But this idea that's been pushed on, Jarrett, we talked about this the other day. This idea that's been pushed on to white people that all blacks are dumb, convicted felons and criminals. And the idea that's being upheld as the role model, for example, George Floyd, for the black population, hey, this is what you're to aspire to. You're a druggy, junkie criminal is what we're to aspire to? No. And that's also not the majority. It's the minority. Every single person I know, Valerie, you have the internet, right? I think you do. Jarrett, you have the internet, right? I think you do. They wouldn't be here right now on the call with us if they weren't. If they didn't, I'm pretty sure both of y'all have your IDs. I think they're saying, oh, it's racist to make them get their ID. No, you dumb butt. It's racist to say that they're too dumb to get an ID. Where are you coming off saying that we're racist? Right,
that's the racist part.
Exactly.
And I don't understand why a lot of minorities don't understand that those statements in themselves are inherently racist.
Exactly.
Like, it's unbelievable. But if former President Donald Trump makes a mean tweet, oh, everybody's so uptight and their panties are in a bunch. But you have someone who actually said, he literally says that blacks can't get internet. Blacks can't get an ID. I mean, come on now. It's just, blacks, we have to start paying more attention to what the left is saying.
Valerie, do you even know anybody who doesn't have internet?
I think she froze.
No, I didn't freeze. I was thinking. No, I don't.
Yeah, everyone I know has internet too. So it's just, and then also with schools, like when they had sent kids home for COVID, the kids without internet, the school provided them with internet. So even if they didn't have internet, they got a little hotspot box. This happened in Trenton and Newark. All the kids got those to take home. So everyone has access to internet. It's just more nonsense from the left. And then also it's selective. It's also, some black people are getting upset with me. It's also selective anger. We get angry at the wrong things. We don't get angry about our communities. We don't get angry about black and black crime. We don't get angry about the fathers in the house. We don't get angry about the gun violence. But we get angry. We get angry when Trump says black jobs, and then Dr. Umar comes out and Trump complete opposites. Dr. Umar comes out and says Trump was right. And illegal immigrants are taking black jobs. And not a single black person was upset when Dr. Umar says it. So Trump says it's bad. Dr. Umar says it is good. So what's the difference? The difference to them is just skin color.
Let's clarify real quick what he meant when he said black jobs, because he wasn't saying there's certain jobs that are only for blacks. He wasn't what he was saying. What he said was they're taking jobs. Some of them belong to black people, and that is not certain jobs are only for black people. He's saying they're taking white people's jobs too. They're just taking jobs from minority communities. They're not certain jobs that are below white people and only black people can do them. That's ridiculous. But they're trying to take his words out of context.
And he's talking about more so those service jobs. Like when you go into the hospital, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a black woman that's going to be serving you your food. It's going to be a black woman that's doing cleaning services. So he's talking about those specific jobs that a lot of black people do have, and that their jobs are being taken by immigrants and some illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
and so it just is what it is. But that's not the only job that black people does. But it's just a fact that a lot of black people are in those service jobs, and it is what it is.
And we have to blame the liberal politicians for this as well, because they're moving the illegal immigrants into black areas. They're not moving them into the Hamptons. They're moving them into Newark. They're moving them to Patterson. They're moving them to Compton. They're moving to places like that. So if you don't have a car or a vehicle, what jobs are you going to get? The local jobs. So if your community is 95% black and you put in an influx of people without jobs, without skills, they're going to take the jobs of the unskilled people, and it just happens to be black. Now, if they move them to Arizona, they'll be taking the jobs of other Mexicans. Or if they move them to like Wisconsin, they're going to be stealing jobs of probably predominantly white people and Native American. So it's just the areas that they're putting them in there too. But we got to put that in a factor as well. And it's not racist to call this stuff out. It's not racist to say, hey, we have illegal immigrants taking jobs. It's not racist to say, hey, guys, we need to pull ourselves by our bootstraps. It's not racist to say George Floyd wasn't a hero. You know, we live in a society now where Candace Owens and Brandon Tatum and Larry Elder are bad guys, but George Floyd, Nicki Minaj, and Carly B are the heroes. Let me tell you, like, how is Sexy Red an influencer influencing kids, and then all of a sudden you tell them that, oh, Candace Owens is bad and you don't want to talk about her, but kids and teachers are singing Skeety, whatever that song is, to their students. I literally saw a kindergarten class singing a Sexy Red song because the teacher used it to calm them down. That shows the lack of discipline at home. It shows a lack of discipline in school, and it shows like they don't care about the Black community. Same thing when Ebonics came out. Like, why on earth are they going to tell young Black kids that they can't speak English properly and shouldn't speak that and it's okay? Again, soft bigotry or low expectations. And now, guys, not just happening to us, it's happening to all cultures and all races. They want everyone to be dumbed down. You know, they want everyone to be dumbed down. That's why you have such stupid influencers, not just in the Black community. You have white ones too. Like, you have those guys doing those stupid food videos. I mean, you have Honey Boo Boos, like you got a world of Honey Boo Boos out there. It's nuts.
Glorifying the Hawk Tuah girl.
Oh yeah, her, Hawk Tuah girl. She's everywhere. She has hats and T-shirts. But the girls who win the Olympics, you don't see them anywhere. You know, I mean, I boycotted it, but
yeah, I'm with you on that one.
But it's just ridiculous. And again, they want us just to be stupid. And again, they just want us to vote with our race. You know, that's one thing with DNC that bothered me. It was just like, hey, Black people, hey, gays, hey, disables, vote for us because we're just like you. With their billion-dollar houses and all the other stuff they have, they're just like us. It's nonsense. And Valerie, what do you do when you talk to these college kids and they're just so indoctrinated saying like, oh, well, I'm Black, this is how it's supposed to be? What kind of knowledge do you drop on them?
Well, contrary to popular belief, Jarrett, you know, the college kids that I'm new at this now. I just started the Brexit student movement, but the college kids, they're just like they're conservative. They are, and they agree with everything that we say. Like, I just went to an event at a local HBCU in Houston, and I had over 40 people sign up for the Brexit student movement mission. And it's just based on strictly what our values are. And they love our values and they love the movement. And so, I mean, I would have to disagree. I would say that everybody's, everybody's focused on conservative values at this point. And it's important for us to seize this moment while people are starting to wake up and hopefully influence just that free thinking mentality.
The question I asked you yesterday, and I ask a lot of our guests before we have our pre-show call, it's more along the lines of what because I used to ask, when did you become a conservative? And I've learned that I have to start changing that question to, when did you realize that you were already a conservative, right?
Probably when I joined. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm not asking you to answer that question now, but if you can comment on and how many times you see that in Brexit, Valerie, is it's not that they became a conservative, it's just that they realized that they were a conservative. Right.
Yeah. Once you have that first conversation, people instantly believe, oh, I'm a conservative. Especially when it comes to like the welfare state that the liberals try to impose on our communities. When they actually look at it and say, oh, you guys are actually empowering people to actually go and work and benefit from the American dream. Okay. And so just policies like that people are just starting to wake up from and see that the liberals are just gung-ho on pushing those policies that just are a detriment to the African-American race.
Yeah, you're 100% right about that. Just spot on. And I'm so glad I was wrong about the college kids. That actually gives me hope. Yeah, I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to be wrong on that one because I'm glad that the new generation is becoming conservative. And also, you're right about the thing when it comes to policies, people changing. My mother always voted Democrat. She was a liberal, but she didn't realize she was conservative. What issue made her want to vote for Trump this time? It was the border. So you're right. Certain policies will get people to realize, as Mike said, they have always been conservative. So we do have a video about Trump on the border we want to play and just have some comments on that and see what you think. All right, Darius, can we drop that? And also, guys, shout out to Darius. You don't see him on screen, but he's one of the hardworking guys on this team. I mean, like, he just fixes all our issues. I mean, he's great.
He gets here super early too, and I don't even realize how early he gets here before everybody else. It's okay, Darius. He gets here before everybody else, and it's like 5 a.m. or something. He gets into the studio. That's 13, Darius. I agree. He works his tail off.
It's important to remember that borders aren't just lines on a map. Those invisible lines are the equivalent of having walls and doors in your home. Without them, anyone could just walk right in, eat your food, rearrange your furniture, even walk off with your stuff. Imagine the chaos. Your privacy is invaded, your belongings are up for grabs, and your entire sense of security is out the window. Borders define where our home ends and the next begins, ensuring that we can maintain order, manage our resources, and protect our culture. They tell others that here we do things our way. Without borders, we'd be in a world of chaos where nobody's safe to simply live in peace. They're the rules of the game, the boundaries that allow us to coexist without turning the whole world into a free-for-all where might makes right, and the only rule is finders keepers. Now ask yourself, why exactly would anyone want to open the borders that protect our very way of life? Who exactly would want millions and millions of strangers who don't speak our language or share our values wandering our homeland? The answer is those who seek to destroy our way of life. For the love of God, don't give them that power. Vote for President Trump and ensure that our beloved America, land of the free and home of the brave, survives.
Wow, that's such a fire video, guys, and it's true too. We're in such a fight. Trump is our option now to stop what's going on in this country. And again, I'm gonna give a shout out to our conspiracy theorists who watch. They watch that video and they're like, they see New World Order. They see New World Order, one world government, all that stuff they talk about. And again, if it's not true, why is there so much information about it? And it's gonna make them believe what's going on, right? And again, sometimes the conspiracy are distractions, and sometimes they're not what you think. But again, it does benefit, the powers to be to all work together and make their money. Because we know who the big people are who own everything. That company, Mike, you mentioned all the time, BlackRock. I think that's the name of it. I think they just bought Ancestry, which I'm glad I never gave my DNA. So now they own all your guys' DNA, guys. So have fun with that. So
I spoke on that with everybody who would listen. We weren't on the air at the time when I was telling everybody, but I said, don't go to those stupid companies because I just want to see who my first of all, I don't really actually care. Because it doesn't matter, because it's just another way for them to get us segregated by our ancestors. Like, why? It's just kind of pointless to me. I don't see any purpose or point to it. But I always said all along, and because I've been someone who's been in there's a little echo, Darius. I've always been someone who's been in IT and cybersecurity, so I paid attention to all this stuff, and I have a lot of friends who are even deeper into that stuff than I am. And all of us have said all along, don't go to those companies, don't give them your information, because they're gonna be keeping a database of it. And guess what? Now they're doing it just like I said they were going to 5-10 years ago. I've been saying that for a very, very long time. And now BlackRock owns them. Any of y'all heard of BlackRock? One of the most, I would say, evil companies that has ever existed, and the ideologies that they've been pushing, trying to force upon people, even to the point of not caring about losing profit being unprofitable in some of the companies that they own because they just have obscene amounts of money. So, yeah, exactly, Jarrett.
Yeah, I just want to chime in. I know you had said that you didn't really care about where you come from, but I do think that it's important and I think it's one of the issues in the minority communities, because being the fact that minorities, we really don't know, unless we do some extensive research, we really don't know where our ancestral lineup comes from. And so if you're people who don't know where you are, you just know that you're kind of here. I know a lot of African Americans, maybe they don't know who passed their great grandmother, where their family comes from. And so whether, we generate from being here in America or come from Africa, I personally think it is important for African Americans to know where we come from.
Yeah, it does make a slight change, because my grandfather, when he was younger, he was in foster care. He had like 13 brothers and sisters. And we got older and made some money. He took all this money to find them. So he found them. And once he found them, he started doing research into our family. And we got into our great-great-great-great-grandmother from the 1800s. She was, and big surprise, she was a slave in Florida. But also found out I had come from Geechee folk in North Carolina. So it's kind of cool that you can track this history back. But this is also a crutch that the left uses on us. They know that we feel sometimes misplaced. We don't feel like we have family, and they try to make the government our family. They try to make the politicians our family, and they try to make their policies our policies, because they say, well, guys, you don't know your background, so we're going to create one for you. So sometimes diving into this stuff, it makes you know more. Like when I found out my family was Geechee folk, and I looked into it, they're hardcore Christians. I mean, they kept all their ways. They're from Africa. It's pretty cool to look into, but also I don't base my whole entire life off that stuff. I don't wake up and say, oh guys, I'm black. My great-great-grandma was a slave. You owe me millions of dollars. No, like what does it have to do with me? I know where my name came from. She was owned by a former governor of Florida. So my name branch comes from there. So I get it, right? It's cool to know that, but it doesn't change my everyday life. It's just something that I know. I don't base my life off it. It's good that I know it. I'm happy that I know it, but it's not gonna change how I move out in this world.
Right. Yeah.
Not even for a check. I don't want reparations. And I'm gonna say something too. It's gonna tick off a lot of black folks. If we start doing reparations, they're gonna have to do DNA tests, and a lot of people are gonna find out that they're not black, or find out their daddy's not their daddy. So like, I don't think you're gonna go down that route.
Oh Lord. But yeah, I think, but just the education aspect of reparations, the reparations movement, I think that if anybody wants to talk about reparations, we can talk about education and educating our communities in different aspects. So I'll just leave it at that, because we can go down a rabbit hole with this, but I definitely think education is the key to reparations.
Yeah, education. Not a check. Some people think a check's going to solve everything, especially the left. They're like, oh, you know what? We'll give you guys more money. We'll give you guys all these extra benefits. And Valerie, much I know. Like you said, the welfare state, these benefits have stagnated the black community. We're still at 13% population because of abortion. We have so much money and we spend so much capital, but we have nothing to show for it because we like to be a quote unquote hood rich. We want these chains, we want the Escalades, we want this nice stuff. Well, you look at Warren Buffett. I saw him the other day on showed him driving home. He drives an old Cadillac, like a 2012 or something. He pays no money for that stuff. All the people I know from this job that I met, these millionaires and these amazing donors for Black State and Turning Point, they wear like cheap sneakers. They wear cheap shoes. They don't have expensive cars. Some of them still live in the same house they grew up in, because they're not trying to waste the money. We just have to do better as a culture with what we have, and stop thinking.
I have a comment to say on that, because I've thought a lot about this, but I think that it's also a mentality and a mindset, because there's some which we can dive into. That would be like, we could talk an hour on that. And Valerie, you're a business owner too, so you get like the spending money on assets rather than liabilities and that whole thing. But I also think that people that don't have money like have this insecurity, so they have to show an outward appearance that they look like they have money. And people that have money, they're like, I have nothing to prove, so I'm just, I'm going to wear some dirty old jeans and a t-shirt because, who do I have to impress? I already made it,
Yeah,
Right.
Tyrese the other day was on Hot 97, and he's like, "Oh, we love your chains. How much that cost?" He's like, "Oh, $49." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna spend money on jewelry. It looks real. You guys think it's real. That's all that matters." And that's a mentality. Rich people don't waste their money on frivolous things. And that's another thing about Blexit. They're about entrepreneurship. They're about showing people to get a hand up, not a hand out. So, Valerie, what are some ways you've seen Blexit influence people into entrepreneurship as a way of escaping government dependency?
So yeah, Blexit, we're definitely focused on entrepreneurship, as it is one of our pillars, along with the nuclear family, school choice, changing of culture. And so we put on these events or trainings, and we focus on entrepreneurship. So just a few examples are, with Blexit North Carolina, we have hosted trainings where if you're interested in starting a business, you can come out and you can learn how to actually start your business, as far as like the paperwork. And we put them in front of mentors, people who have actually established those businesses. We put them in front of people who can share their experience, strength, and hope, and encourage them to start their businesses. We live in a capitalistic society, so that's the great thing about living in America. If you want to start your own business, you're free to do that. And so just taking your passions and just turning them into making money. So yeah, that's just some of the things that we do to encourage people to take a part of the American dream and be fruitful towards society.
I would love to get involved in some of that too, Valerie, sharing some of that, because I've been blessed to have been, and it's not, and I know you know this because you're a business owner, Valerie. It's not always at the top of the mountain. Sometimes you have those low valley experiences, right? Yeah. Sometimes you're going through it. But I just, it was funny is just before I jumped on this call with y'all, I watched a quick video on Instagram, and it was just like the tenacity that it takes to be a business owner, that you just like, you have to push through, and the character and resolve that it builds by having to go through that is pretty cool and incredible. But you have to have a different level, and not everybody's built for it either.
No.
But I told Renata before, that's something that I feel like I can bring, and would love to. In fact, I might bring that up. I'm going to be talking to Pierre about some stuff. But would love to help you guys, in North Carolina, California, wherever, with some of that stuff, and sharing just my experience of being in business for 20 years, and it takes grit, that's for sure.
Yeah, be on the lookout for that Blexit Business Incubator coming in 2028.
Oh, that's awesome! How cool!
It's just a thought that I have, like working with these students, man. It's just awesome. They're just really passionate and ready for the world.
That's cool, man. We love that. So y'all get it straight. We saw the video that all these wokies, these white wokies, think that black people are a bunch of dumb convicted felons, and that's all they are. We got many of them that are college graduates, many of them that are business owners, many of them that are very successful in life. If y'all could just realize that the role models like George Floyd that they set up, that this is what you're to aspire to, is not the way that you have to choose to go, then I think there's so much opportunity. In fact, I think, and you guys, I'm just kind of speaking off the cuff here. I think in some regards, there's opportunities and there's programs for Black Americans that don't exist for other populations like the white Americans.
Were you asking a question?
Yeah, you can go ahead and comment on that. I don't know. That's what I hear is true. Maybe
no. It's like Jarrett was saying earlier, it's all economic based. All the programs are economic based.
Okay.
Now, if you want to talk about like Indians or something like that, or like indigenous people, they have things that are specifically for them. But as far as Blacks, I don't think there's anything that is specifically just for us. Is there, Jarrett?
No, I think everything's economic based. And then when you have stuff, people bring up stuff like, what's that thing where they hire you get hired without, not DIE, the other thing, affirmative action. They're like, oh, affirmative action for us. But if you look at the data, it's more like rural white women in the South who benefit from it, right? Which is fine.
Yeah.
That's the program. But they say it benefits us just so they can push out more programs that don't benefit us. And again, we're always the go-to scapegoat. But if we don't pay attention and start fighting now, we're being pushed out, and the new scapegoat's going to be illegal immigrants, that first generation. If you talk to some of these immigrants, I've been to the shelters, I've been around New York and all the other stuff, they love the Biden and Harris campaign. They're like, oh, they gave us everything. They gave us free. They gave us money and car and all this other stuff. So that's going to be pushed to their kids. You know, just like we talk around conservative values around our kids, their kids are hearing the same thing. Like, oh, Trump's evil, Trump's racist, you know, all this stuff. And they're giving us things. And as a community and who knows the danger of be giving gifts, you know, like the Black community, we know the dangers of the government just giving you things. They don't. So they're just going to do whatever they want. And again, they're bringing their crime, they're bringing their issues. And, you know, if I quote the movie Black Panther, when immigrants come, they bring their problems with them. Right. So even in that movie, they talk about, you know, being an amazing Black movie. They even talk about the dangers of immigration to their country, which I have to say, white liberals, no Black person thinks Wakanda is real. You know, it comes up a lot. We don't think it's a real place. I just want to say that now. We just like the movie, okay? No one thinks we're going to move there and live with pride for eating and T-shirts, all right?
Hey, Jarrett, remember when we were in New York for the Liberation Show, and we Jasmine and I and a couple other people, Jessica, we were like kind of doing a man on the street thing, and all of the Blacks that we talked to, they were just like, this is not our home anymore. Like, just look around. What do you see? It's nothing but immigrants that are taking over their homes and living in housing that some of them can't even get. And that's not to say, like, we as Blacks, we're not against immigration. We love immigration. We, you know, our country thrives off of immigration. However, there's a legal way to do it. And that's all we want. And that's all as conservatives and Republicans, that's all we, you know, expect. We welcome you with open arms into America. We love you. We embrace you. We're a Christian nation. We have love, but there's just the right way to do it. I don't know any country that just has open borders where anybody can just come in and nobody knows, you know, who's here or where you are and things like that. So I just want to clear that air as far as like immigration when it comes to like Black people and, you know, the conservative party. So we're not against immigration at all. It's just
you're spot on. You know, when I was in the Army, being public affairs, I covered a citizenship ceremony. So when you join the military, if you're not a citizen, you can earn your citizenship. And these guys were crying. I mean, the love and the reverence they had for America was mind blowing. And then I see people who are born here who want to burn the flag while they drink their Starbucks coffee and say America's evil. They hate capitalism while on their iPhones and their $300 Jordans. Like, it makes no sense how these kids are acting, and it's all because of the media. It's all because of the left. So that's why I thank God for people like you, Valerie, and for Turning Point and for Brexit, because we're doing the work that needs to get done. I love how you said when I was in the city in New York, you're doing things that other people won't do. You know, liberals won't go and talk to the people that you were talking to. Heck, there's a lot of conservatives who won't go and talk to people that you want to talk to. The biggest thing when I'm a consultant for campaigns, they ask me, how do I get into the Black community? And I say the same thing all the time. You just have to go. Just show up and go. The liberals are going, but they're going once every 4 years, but that's more than the conservatives. So that's why their values are being pushed. So that's why I love organizations like Brexit and Valerie, what you do, the boots on the ground, because you're making inroads that no one else can do. Just like Pastor Alfred Johnson said on our show a couple of weeks ago, you guys should check out. He said, these are the type of things that actually work. You have to go into community, see what their needs are and try to meet those needs, but also help with conservative values. You can't just go in there and say, hey guys, this is what you need. We're going to push you out. We're going to tell you what to do, because they're going to reject that. You know, and there's places like, you know, North Carolina is a little more red than California and New Jersey, but it can go that way. So that's why I thank you guys who have people like him running for office. You know, this
Mark
guy right
Robinson.
here.
Yeah.
Yes. And we need more people like him. We need more people like Mike. We need more people like Valerie. And we need more people like the people watching to continue this fight, because it's boots on the ground that wins. And Mike, I know you have a lot on this topic.
Yeah, no, it's funny because Jarrett, and I think you know this. I think Renata, the rest of the team knows this, but my heart is just to serve, and I know that God's given me a gift for entrepreneurship, and allowed me to be blessed to be born into and raised in a family of entrepreneurs, multiple generations of entrepreneurs. And, I want to give back, and it's not from a sense of, which I feel is actually kind of racist, this whole idea of white guilt. But it's not from a place of white guilt. It's from a place of like, I just love people and want to help people. And it's not like, oh, I want to help Black people because I have white guilt. I want to help all people because of like what God's given me. I want to give back to people that don't have that. We're involved in multiple things, really, frankly, across the world, internationally. We're involved in ministries in Mexico. We're involved in first responders in USA. We're involved in Blexit in USA. We're involved in ministries in Africa. We're doing things all over, and I don't talk about all that all the time because frankly, I don't do it for credit for Mike and even this show. Like, I don't do this because Mike wants to get attention or Mike wants to be famous. I do this because I'm trying to push forward the gospel and spread the kingdom, and I think that there's hope for a generation that's lost. And so when you talk about boots on the ground, I started just my service, and I've always had a heart of service and serving others. I started my journey on that just at a young age. I felt that call, and when I was in junior high school, just like, hey, let me help in whatever way I can in the church. And then that grew. And now most of the service I do is outside of their church. And most of the service I do is actually through the business. So I know we're in a for-profit business, but I don't even view the business as separate. It's not like I have my bucket that's church over here, my bucket that's family over here, my bucket that's business over here. It's all okay, God owns everything that I have, and he's called me to be a steward of everything that I have. And how can I best utilize the gifts and the talents that God's given me to serve him?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. White people per se, it's not come from a place of white guilt. It's just more so the love of the Lord. I can't tell you how many people just are willing to give to nonprofits and to organizations. I mean, it's already being done. So, I mean, I don't see a need to, make a law for
to force people into it.
Yeah.
Well, then you're not doing it from the heart. You're just doing it because you're being made to. In fact, I think that actually takes the heart out of it altogether.
Right. And I mean, when you say white guilt, it just made me think about a situation. I was at my son's football game last week, and the girl, this lady, she was like, "Do you want me to buy you something?" I mean, I don't know why she did that. I don't know. But I don't think it came from a place of white guilt. I think she was just, seeing a child that might maybe want something or, but I see a lot of, what I'm trying to say is, I see a lot of people, especially young people, feeling like they have to overcompensate for something.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to be coming from a place of white guilt because
that's a place of obligation.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's a place of obligation.
It's awkward. Yeah, and it's awkward. And she may have honestly did that as some type of white guilt thing. And I just hate the fact that people are actually feeling some type of white guilt. So I just encourage minorities to just stay focused on educating yourself and not focus on the fact that someone needs to give you anything. Education is the key to success. And you can start by just looking up the Black Wall Streets and just knowing the entrepreneurs that you come from and just focus on empowering yourself and you'll be just fine. We've made it through everything that we've been through here in America, and we're going to continue to do it. We're not going to let anybody take us back, and we're going to stay focused.
Well, I think that for me, you know, as I was, you know, thinking about this as you were talking, and you know what I was saying before, the closer I get to God, the more I serve, and the more I try to pursue the kingdom, the more God's given me the eyes and the heart of Christ to just look at other people with compassion, and even people that try to cause harm and you know, have a negative agenda against, whether it's against you know, me because I'm white, or me because I'm a business owner, or just me individually because of whatever reason. I'm like, you know what? Like, first of all, like, and Renata, thank you, by the way. She sent me a video yesterday that kind of reminded me of this. I was telling her yesterday, I said, you know, when people try to attack me, a lot of times, like, I have confidence because I know who I am in Christ. And I actually tend to more feel sorry for them than I do even get mad or you know, take it personal. Because I'm like, man, well, first of all, I feel sorry for them because usually that's coming from a place of their own hurt and insecurity. But secondly, I've seen way too many times where people try to come against me specifically, personally, and God's always got my back. And so I'm like, man, I feel bad for you because God's going to get you. I don't have to say or do nothing.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. Spot on. And it's funny that you mentioned the white guilt thing. I got a story. We should do a whole episode about white guilt versus black racism. I think it'll be a great episode. But you know, I'll share this
story. A panel on that.
A great panel. So I'll save my story for then. But I have a great story about some random white guy at Disney World who came up to me and asking me how he can be an ally. And this is before I was conservative, but it's hilarious. But Valerie, thank you for coming today. We were so happy that you were here. It's been a great show, everybody. You know, we had a great time. Mike, you know, final words?
Yeah. No, I just want to say, first of all, make sure you check out the events we mentioned. Get out to AmFest, get out to Night of Faith, check out Blexit, because we're all volunteers for Blexit. We all believe in their cause. But guys, remember, when people try to harm you, approach it with the mind and heart of Christ. God's got your back, and really, they're the ones doing their own damage. They're digging their own grave. So, guys, I just want to, you know, it's funny that there's like I'm feeling just the love of God, like for all of you guys watching, but also even all of our enemies. So again, thank you guys for watching. God bless, and we're praying for you.